Hey everyone, my name is WyrmsEye and welcome back to another episode of the Battle Spot Factory, our VGC Battle Spot series. We're going to be continuing on with this team of William Tansley's London Internationals team, slightly edited of course, with Alolan Raichu, Tapu Koko, Gigalith, Salamence, Kartana and Porygon 2. If you missed the last episodes, do check them out. In our last episode we had 1 win and 1 loss, 2 very good games though from both of our opponents, and we'll be looking to try and climb up the ladder this episode, hopefully get a couple of W's under our belt. So without further ado, we're going to jump into the ladder and see who we can find. So we should be running this team for a couple more episodes after this, hopefully taking us through to episode 6 as we begin the day with a rating of 1604. I then want to move on to a team of my own creation that I am very excited to share with you all. A few of you may be familiar with what I'm going to bring to the party. It should be a very interesting set of videos as well. I'm very much excited to showcase the team for you on this channel and hopefully give you an idea of how I'm mentally trying to work through the matchups that I come across, because it is a team that is not exactly conventional, shall we say, as we find our first opponent from Japan running a team of Nihilego, Celesteela, Togedemaru, Arcanine, Porygon 2 and Gigalith. So unfortunately we do see another Togedemaru, so we have to be very acutely aware of the Lightning Rod ability on this thing. We also do see a very heavy Trick Room mode with Porygon 2, Gigalith and Celesteela appearing on my opponent's side of the field. But he also pairs it up with Nihilego, which can be very threatening, especially to something like my Tapu Koko, which it will one-shot with a Sludge Bomb, as our opponent locks in very quickly here. I feel that there is still mileage in going with Tapu Koko and Raichu as a lead, with Kartana and Gigalith in the back. Or do I want Salamence? Do I fear the Celesteela enough? No. We'll go with the Gigalith there. So basically what I'm going to attempt to do is I'm expecting my opponent to lead Togedemaru and Nihilego, most likely, with the intention of getting a fake out very quickly onto my Tapu Koko and trying to Sludge Bomb it straight away, but we do not see that. We see Arcanine and Porygon 2 hit the field with our Raichu and Tapu Koko. So we do see Arcanine's Intimidate lower both of the attacks on our Pokemon, not doing us any harm, as Porygon 2 also shows that it gets a down loop boost in attack, which is probably not going to help it in the long run. The way he set this up makes me expect a Trick Room from the Porygon 2. But do I want to play into the idea that he is going to do that? I kind of do. So I'm going to fake out the Arcanine and also Volt Switch it. Our opponent actually switches out the Porygon 2 into the Togedemaru, which is a very good play on his end. It also shows that it has the Air Balloon, so won't be taking any damage with that attack. The Togedemaru does absorb that attack with its lightning rod, boosting its special attack, but that shouldn't hurt us in the long run here. So the bait of the electric attacks into my opponent's team means that the Togedemaru was a very safe switch in for my opponent, and a very clever one. That being said, I am still going to I'm going to switch into the Gigalith here on the Tapu Koko slot, and I'm going to attempt to Shattered Psyche the Arcanine, try and remove it from play. It probably won't knock out, depending on how bulky the Arcanine is trained. But we do set up the Sandstream as well, which could be influential in the long run. Togedemaru opts to fake out into the Raichu slot, very clever use of that, as the Arcanine chooses to Fiery and Z, most likely into our Gigalith slot here. Let's see. As the Inferno Overdrive does go out, it does target our Gigalith slot, so we are going to be taking some decent damage here. Not too much though, which is very helpful for us, as Arcanine and Raichu take a round of Sandstorm damage. I'm in two minds here about how I want to tackle this. I think I'm going to Rock Slide both Pokemon, and I'm also going to do Shattered Psyche once again into the Arcanine slots. See if we can do some decent damage onto it. So our Shattered Psyche is going to go off straight away as fastest thing on the field. If we can do within the realms, if we either knock it out or get it just so it's outside of proccing its berry, that will be the most ideal situation that we can look forward to, as that looks like it is. It's not got a berry, of course, because it's already shown to have had the Z Crystal. So Arcanine just opts to Flare Blitz into our Raichu slots, doing recoil back to itself, as our Gigalith does get a Rock Slide off, doing decent damage to the Togedemaru, but very importantly, it does cause the Arcanine to faint here. So we're trading knockouts there, but I don't feel that we're in a terrible situation now, as we can bring in Kartana. The biggest threat for our Kartana is now removed from the field with the Arcanine gone. We do have to still be somewhat careful of the Porygon 2. As we see Gigalith hit the field. Well, okay. So we saw how much the Rock Slide did to Togedemaru there, and it did a decent chunk of damage. I'm just debating whether or not I want to risk going for a Leaf Blade into Gigalith instead, rather than Sacred Sword in the Togedemaru, because I have a feeling that it could have Spiky Shield, and that wouldn't be ideal. So we'll Stone Edge into the Togedemaru. We probably will not knock it out, but we do see that the Gigalith does retreat in favour of the Porygon 2 here. So the Porygon 2 does get its downward boost in special attack. This does make it a bit more threatening in the long run. The Togedemaru does not opt to protect, instead going for a Zing Zap onto the Gigalith, which does cause it to faint, unfortunately. And now we potentially could be in a bit of a dangerous situation. So we've seen how much Leaf Blade did to Porygon 2 here. I feel like if we Dazzling Gleam into both of our opponents and we also choose to Sacred Sword here into the Porygon 2, we should be able to pick up the knockout onto the Porygon 2 quite safely, as the Togedemaru does retreat in favour of the Gigalith. So a smart switch there. However, if we can pick up the knockout onto the Porygon 2, which we do, it does now mean that the Kartana is a major threat, as we do take a round of Sandstorm damage, unfortunately. The electric terrain does fade, so our opponent's Zing Zaps on the Togedemaru aren't going to be as effective. That being said, I know that Togedemaru can carry Encore, but given that Kartana is faster, we should be safe from that. So we got no option but to Dazzling Gleam with the Tapu Koko because we locked in with the Choice Specs. And with Kartana, I feel like if we protect here, it gives us a bit more of an added safety net in case our opponent tries to be fancy, but our opponent just forfeits there. He sees the long-term issue with Kartana being a threat to both of his remaining Pokemon, and he's obviously accepted that it can't deal enough. His last two Pokemon can't deal enough damage to Kartana in time to knock it out before I got the subsequent knockouts onto his two. So good games to my opponent there. Obviously, removing the Arcanine there was a major boost to us, because it meant our Kartana was able to get enough damage off unhindered without the threat of any fire type offense coming out from our opponent, and that allowed us to push forward with some momentum and take the game there. We'll jump on for another battle. I think we'll try and find the legendary Pokemon theme. So we're back up to a rating of 1621, so we are very slowly climbing the ladder. And obviously as we're climbing the ladder, we're finding harder opponents with much more nuanced and interesting teams. Some of them a bit more standard, but obviously the way that they're playing them is much more coherent and much more interesting, as we find Tox from Mexico with a rating of 1499. With a team of Crocodile, Buzzwole, Mimikyu, Tapu Fini, Porygon 2 and Gigalith. So again, we do see Porygon 2 and Gigalith for another game today. This time the Tapu of choice happens to be Tapu Fini. We also do see another Mimikyu, one of the many that we've seen in battles over the course of this series. Short as it may be at the moment, but we also do see a Buzzwole, which is a very interesting Pokemon. One of the greatest exponents of Buzzwole happens to be Tommy Colleen of the United States, with his aptly named Rain Flex team. So how do we want to proceed with this one? Again, I do not think I can stop Trick Room effectively, especially with the Mimikyu, so it may be a case of playing around with Trick Room to really get the best out of it. Tapu Koko Salamence. Do I want Kartana? Yes, I want Kartana. And I want Gigalith as well. Again, I'm choosing not to bring Porygon 2 here because I'm more expecting my opponent to set up a Trick Room if he wants to. So I'm playing on the mind games that I can get Gigalith in and use it to greater effect as its own setup, rather than use my own Porygon 2 to do my bidding for me. So we see Crocodile and Mimikyu as my opponent's lead up against my Tapu Koko and Salamence. Our Electric Surge from the Tapu Koko goes off first, obviously covering the field with an electric current, and we do see that the Salamence is faster than our opponent's Crocodile, which means that the Crocodile is definitely not scarfed, at the very least. We do see the Intimidate come back onto our Salamence and Tapu Koko, but again, as both of these are special type attackers, very little gain from this. I'm slightly apprehensive of what this Crocodile is going to go for because it's not very obvious. I don't think it's going to be an Earthquake though, because that would mean that it's endangering his Mimikyu. So I'm going to Volt Switch into the Mimikyu slot, and I'm also going to Protect. Let's see what my opponent goes for. So we do get the Volt Switch off onto the Mimikyu, so we are going to be breaking its disguise. Which is good. And we are going to bring Gigalith in straight away here. I do feel that the Mimikyu is most likely going to go for a Trick Room, as the Sandstorm does get set up here. Crocodile just elects to Rock Slide here, so the Salamence protects itself, and the Gigalith will take a very small amount of damage from that attack, as the Mimikyu does indeed Trick Room, which is brilliant. So we've managed to work ourselves into a decent position here. Obviously the Mimikyu is threatened by the Gigalith with the threat of a Heavy Slam. Whether the Mimikyu does choose to switch out is another matter entirely. But obviously Salamence isn't in the best of positions right now. And I am just moderately concerned that the Crocodile may have the Tectonic Rage. But I am just going to Heavy Slam into the Mimikyu. And I am going to go for a Devastating Drake onto the Crocodile right here. The Mimikyu does switch out into the Buzzwole. So we do see Buzzwole hit the field. The Heavy Slam probably won't do too much to it, as it is very bulky as a Pokemon. But we just see another Rock Slide come out from the Crocodile, as we do get our Devastating Drake off from the Salamence onto the Crocodile, which will be a major boost for us in the long run. So as we see this majestic bolt of energy hit the Crocodile, we do about 60% to the Crocodile. Just over 60%, which is not too bad. But we do take a round of Sandstorm damage here. So the Buzzwole is obviously now a huge threat on our opponent's side of the field, which is going to cause us some concern. Is the temptation to Stone Edge here better than going for a Rock Slide and trying to get the accuracy? No. I think we need to go for the Stone Edge here because obviously it's only an effective attack. Gigalith does connect with the Rock Slide, with the Stone Edge rather, as the Buzzwole does show that it has Ice Punch and does knock out our Salamence, unfortunately. So Buzzwole's Beast Boost is going to proc an attack boost, as the Crocodile just continues to go for Rock Slide here. Okay, I think Kartana is a safer bet to go into here. Now I am going to risk another Stone Edge into the Buzzwole. Obviously it does have an increased critical hit ratio at the expense of its accuracy, which could play to our advantage. How many turns of Trick Room do we have left? 2. So I think if we choose to Leaf Blade the Crocodile here. So the Buzzwole just opts to protect here. So a very safe option by our opponents. But it does mean that unless the Crocodile has something special in the back, showing the Fire Fang does a fair amount of damage, but we do get our Leaf Blade off onto the Crocodile, and the Crocodile does faint. So we do proc our own Beast Boost, getting a Beast Boost of a stage of attack, as Buzzwole takes further chip damage from the Sandstorm. And I feel is now very much in range of being knocked out. So we are going to Stone Edge once again into the Buzzwole, protect the Kartana here. If we can get it outside the Trick Room, we will become the fastest Pokemon on the field, and we will then threaten both the Buzzwole and the Gigalith in equal measure. We do have to be somewhat careful that the Gigalith on my opponent's end, as the communication from the other trainer has finished, is that ours? No, it is our opponent's. So good game to our opponent there. Unfortunate that we did have the disconnection by him occur. I don't think the game was completely settled at that point. It did ultimately matter what might have happened in that last turn of Trick Room. If the Gigalith did happen to have a Z move, perhaps a Continental Crush, or indeed if the Buzzwole happened to have Titanium Z and use all-out pummeling onto Kartana, we would have been in a worse spot than what we were intending to get, where the Kartana was going to get outside the Trick Room and be able to start doing some major damage from there. However, it's all conjecture at this point, so we have to take what we got. So we obviously do get 2 wins in that episode today. So guys, thank you for joining me. If you want to like, comment and subscribe on this video, always would be appreciated. Any comments or feedback for the production, the commentary, anything that you can think that might help improve the videos at large, all gratefully received, and your continued support is always very much welcomed. But I will see you next time on another episode of the Battle Spot Factory, and goodbye for now.